Click.
Right on time.
Hello, friends.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Curiosity Chill, where we chill.
And learn together.
Wait, learning? Not in school? What?
On our own accord.
What? Last week we polled, and you all determined that this week's subject would be... Can you find it on the screen? Japanese mythology.
Yes, I'm so excited to learn about this.
So am I. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Amelia Rose, for finding this beautiful website. This is mythopedia.com.
Of course.
And the moderators have the link in the chat.
Yes.
And they're going to share it with you if you want it. You can read along with us or, follow up afterwards, explore on your own, etc. And we see a lot of new friends here today. What's up?
Yes.
Welcome.
Also, Kuma Bell is joining us from Japan.
Hey, what's up?
Where is everybody tuning in from today?
Yeah, where in the world are you? And if you're here for the first time or one of the first times, feel free to, shout yourself out. Let me know what's going on.
We have friends in the Czech Republic, in Germany, California, Romania, Estonia, the UK, Brazil, England, Slovakia, Minnesota, Norway, Wales, Spain, Michigan, Greece, Russia, New York, Australia, Poland, Arizona, Thailand, joining from the UK for the first time, Hungary, Arizona, Sawadika,
Sawadi. Welcome.
Japan, Texas, Italy, Kazakhstan, Hawaii. Yeah, I know, so many places, right? I love it. It's so inspiring.
Yes, thank you all for tuning in from around the world. We do these Curiosity Chills every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, or whatever time it is for you right now. We will be doing a stream, and we'll pull a subject at the end of today's stream to determine what it is we will study next week.
Yes.
So I'm going to pull up a second browser here so that we can share pictures as we research them. That's not it.
That's OBS.
You've just added a browser source. We don't want to do that. We want to add an actual window capture of the browser source.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Beach98, thank you so much for resubscribing for 3 months. King Violet is back for 29 months. Oh my
Violet,
goodness.
you're turning violet.
Give me my cookies is back for 11 months, almost one whole year. And Amethyst is back for 4 months. Bionic Rookie is back for 28 months.
28, that's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of months.
The Weekly Fangirl's back for 2 whole years.
Oh, welcome back.
And Xavier, welcome back for 25 months.
Yo, thank you all for being here and hanging out with us.
And Fragment of Ghost, thanks for being here 22. Okay.
So there, what about that?
That looks good.
Right, then we can check out some of these images as we check out the article itself.
So today we're going to dive into the different Japanese gods and goddesses and explore the major deities. And then I think if we want, we can choose which deities we want to learn more about, because there's a lot of information on this website.
All about it.
Lauren, thank you so much for the gifts of group hug.
Lauren Etawaru, look at that. Thank you very much. We appreciate your support on our channel. Thanks for being here.
If you got a gift sub from Lauren Etawaru, then please check out our starter kit, which is down below the video, and it will show you your way around our Twitch channel.
For real, though. For real. Thank you for your support. Do you want to start us off here, Amelia? I've got an image or two, and you can read from the middle bit. Let me just adjust these alerts real quick.
Okay.
Feel like they're gonna be there.
Japanese gods. Explore the Japanese pantheon and rediscover the ancient Shinto and Buddhist gods, including Amaterasu, Izanagi, Susanowo, Tsukuyomi. I said that wrong. Tsukuyomi, Ebisu, Raijin, and more.
Well done. You did it, Amelia. If anybody speaks Japanese fluently and has some recommendations on pronunciation, feel free to let us know what's going on.
Oh, yes, please. Then thank you. Major deities. Amaterasu is the sun goddess of Japan, the central goddess of Shinto, and the center of Japanese spiritual life. As the mythical ancestor of the Japanese imperial family, she forms the basis of their right to rule.
Whoa. And Pieces of Eden, thank you for the gift subgroup hug as well.
Thank you so much.
So I'm gonna rotate through images as Amelia reads.
Okay.
Right. And
Thank you.
sure.
Izanagi is one of the first gods of Shinto's cosmology. Cosmology. Together with Izanami, his female counterpart, he created the island of Japan and populated them with many kami, which is deities. Though he suffered a great tragedy, he went on to rule the heavens and later helped his daughter, Amaterasu, ascend to the divine throne. Ooh.
There they are depicted from the heavens.
Susanowo. Susanowo is the Japanese god of the sea and storms. A chaotic, stubborn, and foolhardy soul, he is also the brother of Amaterasu, the rising sun, and the queen of the heavens. His quarrels with his sister eventually put him in conflict with Orochi, the 8-headed dragon. Oh my goodness.
Look at this.
Whoa.
That looks like a depiction.
Yes.
Japanese god of storms. These are really cool.
Yes.
I love this artwork.
Tsukuyomi is the Japanese moon god, a proud deity who represents the beauty and power of the moon. He committed egregious crime in front of his wife, Amaterasu, and was forbidden from ever seeing her again. Whoa. Interesting that the moon god is a god, not a goddess in this mythology. Would you mind moving this a little bit so that it's not quite cutting off my... There, thank you. Inari is the kami of prosperity, rice, smithing. What's smithing?
Smithing.
Oh.
I like those birds.
Inari is the kami of prosperity, rice, smithing, cunning, and craftsmanship. Portrayed variously as male, female, and androgynous, Inari is a complex and popular deity worshipped for more than 1,000 years throughout Japan. Their prominence has led to the creation of a special type of shrine focused primarily on smithing and rice cultivation, as well as the preservation of foxes.
Oh, that's good.
That is good.
Glad to hear it.
Raijin is the Japanese god of storms, a spirit of destruction and chaos who throws lightning and powerful thunderbolts while riding atop dark clouds. He is always accompanied by his companion gods, Fujin and Raitaro. Ooh, wow.
All right, let's find a Fujin.
Fujin is a Japanese god of the wind, a demon born of the underworld who is a destructive force of nature, controlling all the winds of the world. He appears alongside his brother, the thunder demon Raijin. Nice. Next, we have Ameno Uzame. Ameno Uzame is the Shinto goddess of dawn, an inventor of dances and comedy whose positive self-image and quick thinking helped bring the sun goddess Amaterasu back to the world. Ooh, wow, that's beautiful. Ebisu is the Japanese god of luck and prosperity. Ebisu is a manifestation of abundance of the sea. He is always shown with a smile and a laugh. Though he was rejected at birth, Ebisu would go on to become a benevolent, kind kami and one of the 7 lucky gods.
Definitely seems lucky.
Oh yeah, with the fish.
I'm very happy.
Ninigi Ninigi introduced rice and civilization to Japan, then founded the Japanese Imperial family. He is the grandson of great Amaterasu, the goddess of the heavens and the sun. Nice. So maybe now we can go in depth with these different gods and goddesses. Moogie Blue, thank you so much for the Gifts Up group hug.
Gifts Up group hug.
And Pieces of Eden, thank you for cheering. And JJ Sparkles, thank you so much for joining us and typing into the chat. We're glad that you're here with us for the first time.
Yo, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, beautiful wife, which one should we jump in further?
Well, I think we should maybe start with the first one.
Start at the very beginning? Mm-hmm. Very good
Amaterasu, the sun goddess. Ooh.
We love to see it.
Mm-hmm. The sun goddess, daughter of creator deities Izanagi and Izanami, and central to the Shinto religion. It is from her the Japanese nobility claims descent and their divine right to rule.
I mean, look at that.
Yes.
That's a divine right if I've ever seen it.
Mm-hmm.
What a depiction.
Yeah.
Amaterasu is the great and glorious goddess of the sun, an embodiment of the rising sun and Japan itself. She is the queen of the kami and ruler of the universe. The Japanese imperial family claims to have descended from her, and this is what gives them the divine right to rule Japan. She is the center of Shinto and Japanese spiritual life. Etymology. So this is where the word comes from. It can be translated as shines from heaven, meaning heaven or imperial, and this symbol is meaning shines. Amaterasu is shorthand for Amaterasu Okikami, which can be represented in kanji as, you see it here before you, the longer version means the great and glorious kami who illuminates from heaven. The most prominent of her titles is tricky for a non-native speaker to pronounce, but I'm going to give it a go. Ohirumi no Muchi no Kami, meaning the great son of the kami. Good morning, Web. What's going on, everybody? How you doing? I see Black Wolf Magic is back for 36 months, and Mo's back for 33, saying nice. Beautiful. So tell us the attributes of Amaterasu.
Yes.
Amaterasu.
The queen of heaven, the kami, and creation itself. Though she did not create the universe, she is the goddess of creation. A role she inherited from her father, Izanagi, who now defends the world from the land of the dead. Ooh.
Look at that.
That's intense.
Look at that.
Goddess of the rising sun. Amaterasu's primary role is that of the sun goddess. In this position, she not only serves as the literal rising sun that illuminates all things, but also provides nourishment to all living creatures and marks the orderly movement of day into night. The sun represents order and purity, two of Shinto's most important concepts. All things in creation are ordered, from Amaterasu down to the denizens of Jigoku and other hells. This order is reflected in Japanese society as well.
Hey, thank you guys for the hype on the hype train. Appreciate that very much.
Thank you so much.
The Imperial Goddess. The Japanese imperial family, which claims descent from Amaterasu, sits at the head of Japanese society, and from the imperial family a natural hierarchy exists. In pre-modern Japan, this was one of the many justifications for the society's caste system. Through Amaterasu's illumination, she represents not just order, but the justice that maintains it as well. The imperial family has long served as the legitimizing power of any Japanese political entity, and they have always used this position to ensure that Amaterasu's place as Queen of Heaven and her control of its courts are reflected in their rule. Thus, the earthly court systems and the justice that they represent are reflections of Amaterasu's divine justice, though she herself is not the goddess of justice, merely its final arbiter. She maintains harmony and balance in both the world, the natural world, and human society. Oh, and Potterboy, thanks for checking out our article on the BBC website. That was a lot of fun. We did that with Wee Claire, who's interviewed us several times at some Comic-Con events. And if you guys want to check it out, Amelia and I have both reposted it on our Twitter.
Yeah. Goddess of State. Amaterasu has always been important, if not the most important kami in Japanese life, spiritual life. Prior to the Meiji Restoration, when Shinto was not yet formalized, Amaterasu was important across most of Japan. It was only after Shinto was formally recognized as a state religion, however, that Amaterasu's role was solidified and the imperial family set once more as head of the now democratized Japan. Though state Shinto was abolished in the years after World War II, Amaterasu and the imperial family remain an important part of Japanese spiritual life. Some scholars assume, based on archaeological evidence, that the prehistoric sun cult that occupied the region may have worshipped some incarnation of Amaterasu. Nice.
Imperial regalia. The imperial family possesses 3 holy relics that come directly from Amaterasu herself. Therefore, these relics are known as the imperial regalia of Japan. Yata no Kagami, the 8-span mirror, was used to lure Amaterasu from the cave she hid in. So is that this first one here?
Yeah, it looks like it.
This is an artistic representation of the imperial regalia as it might have appeared in earlier periods. Oh, there's these 3 objects. So this first one must be the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Yasakani no Magatama. The grand jewel is a magatama, a curved, beaded, or jeweled necklace common during the prehistoric Japanese period prior to the 4th century. It is thought that the grand jewel was lost during the Genpei War of 1180 to 1185. So that would be this here. And lastly, we have the Kusanagi no Surugi. Help me out. Are we even close? I think it's pretty close. The grass-cutting sword, also known as the Ami no Murakumo no Sugurui. Surugi?
Close enough.
Close enough. You guys are very sweet. The heavenly sword of gathering clouds was once owned by Amaterasu's brother, Susanowo, and represents virtue.
Shrines. The Ise Grand Shrine, commonly known as Jinju, is not only Japan's most historically important shrine, but also the official shrine of the imperial family. Dedicated to Amaterasu, the shrine houses the imperial regalia and was an important site of pilgrimage throughout the Edo period from 1600 to 1868. There are several sections of the shrine where only priestesses and members of the imperial family may pass. As such, the shrine's chief priest and priestess must be of the imperial family line. Wow.
What do you think, team? Field trip? Should we go? DM Jedi, happy birthday field trip.
Happy birthday.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate you joining us on your special day. So this is the main shrine as photographed. Another shrine, Amano Uzame Shrine in Takechiyo. Oh man, this is in the Miyazaki Prefecture. Is said to be near the gorge where Ameno Uzame, the cave where Amaterasu hid herself from the world can be found. So the shrine is said to be just near the cave. Tell me about the family, my beautiful wife.
Amaterasu is one of 3 kami born from Izanagi's purification following his attempts to free his wife from the land of the dead. The 3 deities were born as he washed himself. Amaterasu.
You guys, just so you know, in full candor, right before the stream began, Amelia and I were saying to ourselves, like, Amaterasu, 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 Amaterasu. And now every time we're doing okay? All right. Well, Abdarka says we're doing all right.
Thank you. Amaterasu was born from his left eye. Her brother and husband was born from his right eye. And the storm god Susanowo from his nose.
Whoa.
Though these are her primary siblings, Amaterasu has many other brothers and sisters born of Izanagi and Izanami's marriage rituals. Though the parentage of her children is unclear, Amaterasu is thought to have had them with her husband, Tsukuyomi. Their children include Ameno Uzame, whose son Ninigi was to Japan by Amaterasu, Ninigi's great-grandson Jimmu, who would go on to become the first emperor of Japan. Thus, the bloodline from Amaterasu to the Imperial family can be reliably traced from the 7th century up to the modern era.
Mythology. Tales of Amaterasu appear in Kojiki and Nihon Shoki, which relates the mythological origins of the universe and the birth of Japan as an empire. The birth of Amaterasu. From the mists of time emerged 2 deities, Izanagi no Mikoto and Izanami no Mikoto, the divine male and the female gods of creation. Seeking to fill the misty void, they devised the marriage ritual and engaged in sex, but had to repeat the ritual due to a mistake on Izanami's part. If I'm going to throw it out there, I'm thinking Izanami might have been like, oops, maybe we should try again? That was great. This second successful attempt yielded a multitude of kami, spiritual beings representing the natural world and the islands of Japan. The last of these things, being fire, subsequently killed Izanami. Wrought with grief, Izanagi journeyed to Yomi, or the shadowy land of the dead. Searching far and wide, he eventually found his wife and was shocked to find her rotting flesh full of Oni and other demons. Seeing his rejection of her, Izanami flew into a rage and attempted to chase him past the gates of death. However, he managed to block the gates with a boulder. Izanami swore that if he left her there, she would kill 1,000 people every day.
Whoa.
He replied that each day he would create 500 more lives than she could destroy, thereby ensuring the survival of Earth's population.
Whoa.
Damn. That escalated quickly, right?
That did, yeah.
Went from bow chicka wow wow to the creation of all people to the destruction of all people in a paragraph.
Wow.
Disgusted by the taint of death that lay upon him, Izanagi found a pool of pure water nearby and bathed himself in it. As he washed his left eye, Amaterasu emerged, fully grown and glowing with the bright light of the sun. He washed his right eye next, and from it emerged the shining Tsukuyomi, the moon, who reflected his sister's light. As he cleaned his nose, a storm emerged and took the shape of Susanowo, the storm god and ruler of the seas. These 3 Izanagi tasked with ruling the heavens, with Amaterasu as their leader.
Day and night. As was the natural order of things, Amaterasu married her brother Tsukuyomi, and together they ruled the day and night. The marriage produced children, but Tsukuyomi lacked Amaterasu's naturally glowing disposition. Whatever goodness he had was merely a reflection of her light. Ultimately, Tsukuyomi revealed his true colors at a banquet when the goddess Ukemochi created a bounty from which food could be grown. After she spat fish into the sea and game into the forests, she proceeded to pull crops from her rectum. Disgusted by her actions, Tsukuyomi killed her on the spot. Amaterasu rejected her husband's disgust and banished him for his evil actions. Thus, day and night became separated for all eternity.
Woo!
Whoa.
And for those of you unfamiliar with the growing of crops, it is necessary, I hate to tell you, but to put a bit of manure or fertilizer in the crops. So I'm guessing that is some connection to that.
Yeah. Wow.
Amaterasu and the cave. Though Izanagi tasked all three of his children with ruling the heavens, Amaterasu's claim was strongest. As Izanagi's firstborn, she held the divine right to rule. The youngest of the three, Susanowo, resented his elder sister's right to rule and questioned it openly. Eventually, Susanowo's arrogance led his father Izanagi to banish him. Before his departure, Susanowo went to bid his sister goodbye. When his actions were met with suspicion by Amaterasu, Susanowo issued a challenge to prove his sincerity. As the challenge began, Susanowo took Amaterasu's necklace as she took his sword. Using these vessels, they each birthed goddesses. Amaterasu produced 3 goddesses from the heavenly blade, while Susanowo produced 5 gods from the grand jewel. Since she owned the grand jewel and more gods were birthed from it, Amaterasu claimed she had won the challenge. Outraged by her claim, Susanowo went into a rampage, destroying much of heaven and earth. He annihilated Amaterasu's personal rice fields and threw animal carcasses about, even going so far as to throw a pony at her loom.
What?
First of all, I was working on that loom. Second of all, how'd you get that pony in here? Third of all, this is becoming a problem. One of Amaterasu's personal attendants died during the rampage, causing an already angry Amaterasu to mourn as well. Ashamed that her actions had led to such chaos, she fled to a cave now known as Ameno Uzame, the Heavenly Rock Cave. With Amaterasu in hiding, the world plunged into darkness and chaos. Thus began the first winter, a hard time for a world used to basking in the sun.
Wow. Ooh.
Depicted
Oh my
here.
gosh,
Look at this.
yes.
Look at this. Beautiful.
Wow.
This is a depiction of a grand party with music and dancing thrown to lure Amaterasu from inside her cave. Come out, come out.
Come out. The kami looked down upon the world and, seeing the chaos left in Amaterasu's absence, decided they must bring her back. Though they asked her to return and described the chaos caused by her absence, Amaterasu refused to listen and blocked the cave entrance with a rock. After almost a year, wise Omoikane determined that if she would not come out of her own volition, they would have to lure her out with curiosity. To this end, a grand party was thrown. The plan worked, as the music and dancing and joyous cries of the gods did indeed pique Amaterasu's attention. The noise intensified when the dawn goddess Ameno Uzame performed a particularly revealing dance.
Ooh la la.
Curious, Amaterasu drew closer to the cave entrance and there discovered an 8-fold mirror. fascinated by the light of her own reflection, Amaterasu at last came out of the mouth of the cave. It was at that moment Omoikane drew back the stone that blocked the entrance. As he did so, Amaterasu's light re-entered the world, illuminating the chaos that had been left in her wake. Winter ended at last, and spring and summer brought life back to Japan. Ashamed, she begged forgiveness for her actions. It was given freely, for Susanowo's behavior had been nothing less than abhorrent. His banishment was henceforth carried out, and Amaterasu returned to heaven. She later reconciled with her brother, who gave her the holy blade as a gift.
Ooh.
And Pieces of Eden, thank you again so much for your incredible generosity.
And welcoming in Sable Dragon Rook with their raid. Thank you for blowing up our stream, raiders.
Hey, welcome.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Today we are studying Japanese mythology on our Curiosity Chill. Each Tuesday morning we pull a subject and then study it that next week. And you've all chosen Japanese mythology, so thank you for exploring with us. The moderators, thank you mods, have the link to Mythopedia.com, which is where we're reading these articles from. And let me tell you, team, this is an awesome website. Mythopedia.com also has basically everything you guys have been asking for about all these different early mythologies. There's Norse mythology, Greek mythology, Roman mythology. We're on Japanese mythology.
Yeah. Nice.
Wow. I love this art.
Wow, so this is Amaterasu emerging from the cave.
You can see, look at the divine rays of sunlight.
And bringing back the sun from a long, dark winter.
In time, Amaterasu sent her grandson, Ninigi, to rule the earthly realm after her son refused. She gave him the Imperial regalia, which helped Ninigi to establish a kingdom of justice and harmony. His great-grandson, Jimmu, became the first emperor of Japan and ruled with the Imperial regalia as a sign of his divine right and lineage.
Other mythology. Japanese historical records connect Amaterasu with the shaman and priestess Himiko, and some scholars connect her with both the proto-imperial family of the 5th century and the sun cult that ruled prior to the establishment of early Shinto beliefs. Elsewhere in the world, Amaterasu is similar to the Norse Sol, known as Suna, a rare sun goddess in a world full of sun gods. Like Amaterasu, Sol is siblings with the moon and promotes order and harmony in the world. Nice.
I love it. So we could go into depth on a lot of these gods. I'm curious, because they're pretty in-depth research, do you guys want to choose which one we go for next? Should we do a little poll? Maybe you can, would you mind speeding through these options real quick as I...
Would you go back to the top, up a little higher? Yeah. Okay, so we have Izanagi, who is the very first god of Shinto's cosmology. Izanagi is Amaterasu's father. Then Susanowo is the god of sea and storms. Tsukuyomi is the moon god and Amaterasu's brother. Inari is the god of prosperity, rice, smithing, cunning, and craftsmanship. Raijin is the Japanese god of storms, a spirit of destruction and chaos who throws thunderbolts. Fujin is the Japanese god of wind. Ameno Uzame is the goddess of the dawn, the inventor of dances, comedy, and protector of the foxes, I think.
I'll move this over here. Yes, indeed, you are correct.
Ibizu, the Japanese god of luck and prosperity, and Ninigi, who introduced rice and civilization and founded the imperial family. Who would you like to learn more about?
Yeah, type them in the chat. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, and Miss Okami, thank you so much for the gift sub group hug.
Miss Okami, thank you
Thank
for your
you.
good vibes, Okami. Thank you kindly.
And Katie Lou, a 57, welcome back for 1 whole year.
Yo, welcome back. Welcome back. All right, it looks like the here's our top one. Japanese god of the wind? No, here we go. Ameno Uzame is the Shinto goddess of dawn, inventor of dances and comedy, whose positive self-image and quick thinking helped bring the sun goddess Amaterasu back to the world. I think that's a good place since we just learned about. And then we can get on to her brother, Susanowo, and also
her husband,
Tsukuyomi.
Sounds good.
Sweet. Thank you, everybody, for helping us determine what we shall study. Appreciate you. How dare I make you choose? I know there's a lot to learn. Also, if you guys want to explore, again, mythopedia.com/Japanese-mythology will get you where we are.
Also, Lynn V 1996 is back for 36 months.
Hey, welcome back. And Virtual Reality, thank you for that gift sub to the birthday. DM Jedi, I appreciate that. And Matha Betika, thank you for being here for 5 months. Appreciate your company as well.
Ameno Uzame is the Japanese goddess of the dawn, known for her merriment and humor. Credited with inventing the performing arts, her spontaneous dancing once saved the world from eternal darkness.
Thank goodness, too. I mean, I would not like eternal darkness.
No,
That would have been a real bummer.
Okay, so
the name represented in by the kanji here. Anybody can read and write in kanji. Her name is sometimes shortened to Uzume, and the name Ame is sometimes rendered and pronounced as Ama, both of which mean light. Her name can be translated a number of ways, one of which is the great goddess shining Uzume. Other derivations include the great persuader, or heavenly alarming female. An alternate appellation of hers is Omiyanome no Okami, rendering her a retainer of the goddess Amaterasu from Yanome near Fukushima. Translated as the great goddess retainer of Yanome. In comedic theater, she is often called Okame.
attributes. Ameno Uzame is first and foremost the goddess of dawn, placing her in the service of Amaterasu, the goddess of the sun. Ameno Uzame is very different from her mistress, however, being more inclined to joviality and creativity, which connect to the potential, creation, and happiness often associated with the sunrise. Because of this, Ameno Uzame is often portrayed as smiling. Traditional stories describe her as wearing loose or revealing clothing, which other kami in these stories find comical, but Ameno Uzame is joyful and unconcerned, just doing their own thing. Unlike the very reserved and proper Amaterasu, Ameno Uzame is open, easygoing, and dedicated to bringing joy to the world. Her nature makes her a great diplomat, and she acts as one of Amaterasu's most trusted servants. Mirrors, a sacred symbol of the Imperial family, are often connected to Ameno Uzame because of the way the ocean on Japan's eastern coast reflects the dawn like a mirror. Ameno Uzame is credited with the creation of many Japanese art forms, such as kagura, a kind of dance telling the stories of kami, and some forms of comedy and theater, such as the ancient no. Ameno Uzame is often depicted in kyogen, a comedic theater tradition, and here is often displayed semi-nude to comedic effect. Because of these theatrical connections, Ameno Uzame is the goddess of revelry. In relation to her husband, she is also considered an inari kami, a goddess or a goddess connected to kitsune, Japanese fox spirits known for their cunning and wiles.
Aww. Nice. Family. Ameno Uzame's husband is I gotta do it real slow. Sarutahiko Okami, leader of the earthly kami. Their children created the theater forms known as Kagura and No theater. Mythology. Ameno Uzame appears predominantly in the tale of Amaterasu and her family. Amaterasu in the cave, and stamping till Ameno Uzame made it resound, and doing as if possessed by a deity, and pulling out the nipples of her breasts, pushing down her skirt string all the way to her privates.
Oh my.
Kojiki, translated by Basil Chamberlain. So there you have it, team. There you have it. This is a mature viewing stream. You all had to check the little box to say you can handle these things.
Yeah.
Amaterasu had gone into hiding, for her brother Susanowo had shamed her greatly. With her disappearance, and consequently that of the sun, the world went cold and dark. No matter how hard the kami tried, they could not convince Amaterasu to reappear. Ameno Uzame, a young maiden, concocted a plan with other heavenly deities. She began to dance comically for all the kami to see, taking off various pieces of clothing until she was partially nude. Her dancing and nudity were so hilarious that the kami began to roll with laughter. Inside the cave where she was hiding, Amaterasu heard the laughter and grew curious. She pushed away the rock that blocked the cave's entrance and saw Ameno Uzame dancing. Amused, Amaterasu came out to get a better view. Exiting the cave, she discovered a mirror erected by Ameno Uzame. Distracted by her own reflection, the other gods pushed the rock back across the cave's mouth and bound it with a sacred Shimiwanawa rope, preventing Amaterasu from entering the cave and causing the sun to return to the world. Ameno Uzame, it turned out, was the savior of all. Later, when Amaterasu sent her grandson Ninigi to rule the world, the earthly kami Sarutahiko refused to cede his land to Ninigi until convinced to do so by Ameno Uzame. She and Sarutahiko later married and had children together.
Cool.
So basically, let me sum this up real quick. Basically, the sun and the correlating goddess of the divine emperor and the ruling family of ancient Japan would say, I'm going in this cave, and I'm taking the sun with me, and I'm closing this boulder up, and everybody was stuck in darkness. And then Ameno Uzame was like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm going to get naked and dance.
Yeah, and I'm going to make everyone feel really good, and I'm going to make Amaterasu so curious that she has to come out of her cave to see what awesomeness is going on.
And then when she came out of the cave, oldest trick in the book, roll the boulder back, bind it up with some sacred rope, problem solved. I love it.
I love it too.
Okay, cool. Let's jump on to the other two. We have a little more time, right? I think we might have only time for one more.
Yeah. I think
tale.
her husband was the
here, yeah?
Tsukuyomi.
The moon god, a proud deity representing beauty and the power of the moon.
Yes.
And Mandra-san, thank you for being here for 16 months. Appreciate you very much. And Kefka, welcome back for 37 months. Oh, absolutely. You staying real curious, friend? Appreciate you being here with us. Thank you so much for your support.
Cool. 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 Co Let me start here.
Yeah, etymology. So where's the name come from, my love?
Well, the name directly translates to moon reading, a popular practice in noble courts of pre-modern Japan, where parties would stay up all night moon gazing and reading poetry. An alternate kanji reading is Tsukuyo, moonlight, and me, watching. Sometimes he is called Tsukuyomi Otoko or Tsukuhito Otoko, meaning moon reading man. Tsukuyomi is very much a match for his wife Amaterasu. Beautiful and serene, he believes in order and etiquette and enforces them whenever he can. His enforcement of such ideals extends to the point that he is willing to kill to maintain order, despite killing itself being a breach of etiquette in the heavenly court. Thus, there is an irony in Tsukuyomi's strict adherence to etiquette. To enforce it, he is willing to break it. Though the moon is often regarded as beautiful and worthy of viewing, Tsukuyomi himself is seen as a negative figure in Shinto and Japanese folklore. This does not prevent him from having shrines, however, such as one at Matsunu Taisha in Kyoto. Family. Tsukuyomi and his siblings Amaterasu and Susanowo were born of the purification ritual their father, Izanagi, underwent following the trials in Yomi, which is the underworld. Tsukuyomi married his sister, Amaterasu, though it is unclear if he is the father of her children. According to some interpretations, Tsukuyomi may be the forefather of the Japanese imperial family. However, it is not a commonly held belief.
Mythology. Appearances in Japanese mythology are brief, but important. Origins. Izanagi, having failed to return his wife from Yomi, the land of the dead, placed a boulder at its entrance to prevent her escape. Soaked in the impurities of Omi, Izanagi sought to purify himself at the nearby hot spring. As he washed his eyes and nose, 3 kami were born, as we've learned. Amaterasu from his left eye, Tsukuyomi from his right eye, and Susanowo from his nose. Izanagi labeled these 3 gods among the most important of the kami and decreed that they would rule the heavens. Together the siblings climbed to the heavenly pillar and ruled the heavens. Tsukuyomi married his sister Amaterasu and ruled as her consort. The death of Ukimochi. Ukimochi, the goddess of food, held a great feast. Typical. Though she was invited, Amaterasu was unable to attend and thus sent her consort, Tsukuyomi, in her stead. He watched as Ukimochi began to create the feast, but found her methods to be incredibly repulsive. She spit fish, rice, and deer from her mouth, as well as pulling food from other orifices. Tsukuyomi was so horrified by her actions that he killed her then and there. When word reached Amaterasu, she was horrified and labeled her husband an evil kami, unworthy of ruling the heavens. Returning, or ruling.
Yeah.
Don't even come back here after that. This separation of Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu was the origin of day and night. For all eternity, Tsukuyomi will continue to pursue Amaterasu across the night sky without ever reaching her. Even during an eclipse, the sun will run from the moon.
Other mythology. As a rare moon god in a world filled with moon goddesses, Tsukuyomi is relatively unique. While his position in mythology is not entirely unique, the Egyptian Khonsu, Norse Mani, Hindu Chandra and Chinese Ji-Lang stand as his peers. Tsukuyomi's prominence in the former consort king of heaven is unmatched. Nice. All right.
Well, there is much to learn here, team. If you'd like to continue exploring, our awesome mod team will share with you mythopedia.com. And I just want to share real quick, like, if you seem to be really into mythology as a general subject, we keep polling a lot of, but this website is incredible. Amelia found this. It's got pretty much whatever you need, but we can go from Greek, Norse, Celtic, Roman, Chinese, Japanese, Egyptian, Aztec mythologies, and it's just packed full of awesome info. So if you guys want to get in, there is a lot of awesome stuff on this website, which means we should also poll what we'll study next week.
Yeah, what are you curious about for next week's Curiosity Chill? The way we decide is literally just type anything that you're curious about, and we're going to do a poll, and then everyone will decide together what next week's topic will be.
Oh, wait, I just had a thought.
What?
Since we're able to do Curiosity Chill next week, should we do the codec?
Let's poll it.
Let's poll it.
Let's
okay,
see.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of love for Aztec mythology.
Okay, Aztec. Do you guys know one of my favorite words? Huitzilopochtli. Mm-hmm. Which is the Aztec god of war.
Yes.
Huitzilopochtli.
Okay, I'm seeing love for Norse mythology.
Okay.
And I'm also seeing love for volcanoes.
Right, volcanoes have seen some serious polling here these days.
Yeah. I'm seeing we did Egyptian mythology. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Pretty recently, yeah. We've done those Greek and Egyptian very recently.
Yeah.
I'll put Norse mythology on here. Also, speaking of mythology, we're looking at perhaps doing a codec stream from Mass Effect. So we are nearing the completion of Mass Effect 1, and that is our Sunday game. And there's a codex in the game, which tells us all of the expanded lore. So I'm going to throw that out there as an option.
Slavic mythology, I've seen that a lot.
Okay.
So we're really into mythology right now. That makes sense.
This is the mythology crew.
Or Native American mythology?
I think we're going to go with these 5 because once we pull more than 5, the top one is too low a percentage. Know what I mean? All right, here we go, team. These are your top recommended options of what we can study on next week's Curiosity Chill. Type number 1 in the chat on Twitch for Aztec mythology, aka Huitzilopochtli. Amelia absolutely hates it when I say Huitzilopochtli.
No, it's just, I don't.
I say it all the time.
You do.
Volcanoes. Norse mythology is number 3 in the chat. Number 4 in the chat for the Mass Effect Codex. And number 5 in the chat for Slavic mythology.
Yeah.
Let's see what it is. And while we poll this, you only need to type once into the chat, 1 vote per. But it's time for a pop quiz. You got to shout out one thing you learned about Japanese mythology today. Something you could share with a friend or an uncle or a stranger. What would you tell them if you were like, guess what I learned about Japanese mythology? I learned that blank. What is it? And Obi Mimar, thank you for the gift sub to Boogie Googie. And Cobwebs and Flies, thank you for the gift sub to Babette T. And Goose Silver 7, thank you for subscribing. If you want to get someone out of a cave, boobs help. That's very true. Never actually tried it.
Yeah, marrying your sibling was definitely a thing. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, especially when it comes to royal lineage, you know.
The myth of day and night, and the moon always chasing the sun.
That's right. That's right.
It took naked dancing to get the sun back and chase away the winter.
And Sarah Newt, thank you for the Newt double gift subs. We appreciate that. It's very sweet of you. Welcome aboard. If you guys just got a gift sub from Sarah Newt, be sure to check out the starter kit. There's a panel down below the video that'll show you around our Discord and all the perks.
Yeah, a lot of the naked dancing was definitely Ume was very popular.
Yeah, I see what you guys are sticking with.
The royal Japanese family, the Imperial family, is descendant from the goddess herself.
Yes, and Emma, MCCA, thank you for being here and chatting with us for the first time. Welcome.
The moon god killed the goddess of produce and food because he was so horrified at how she was producing the food.
Looks like we've got a almost three-way tie.
Wow. So we do.
So we've got like
volcanoes.
Basically, volcanoes and Slavic mythology are the top two. I think we should poll again between these two to determine because they're they're like within a point of each other. So we're gonna do a runoff team.
Yeah.
Slavic mythology or volcanoes, which has been on this list for some time.
What shall we learn next week? For Curiosity Chill, type 1 or 2 to cast your vote into this runoff poll.
1 for Slavic mythology and 2 for volcanoes. Appreciate you all being here with us. Thank you for this good vibes. Thank you, moderators and lieutenants, for helping us out on our stream, and thank all of you for joining us.
Yeah.
Our next stream is going to be on Friday, though it is possible we do a bonus stream sometime in the week, so make sure you've got your notifications turned on if you would like to tune in with us, get a little extra Witcher for your day if you feel like it. And then on Saturday, we're going to be playing It Takes Two, which is a lot of fun. Amelia and I are playing that in co-op.
Oh, yes. A puzzle game in co-op. It's really adorable.
If anybody else wants to break the tie, now's your chance to vote. 3, 2, 1. Oh, man, that is so close.
Yeah.
That is so close.
50-50.
50-50. Should we study Slavic volcanoes?
Oh, wow.
Should we flip a coin? I mean, how do you even determine? This is pretty right on the edge.
Yeah. Okay.
This is like a tug of war with.
If you have not voted, now is the time. You can see very clearly how every vote counts and every vote matters. Wow.
What's it gonna be? I'm gonna count 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Ding, 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 ding.
Wow.
Barely winning Slavic mythology. Everybody shout out to Volcanoes. Volcanoes has been doing the most. It has been months that Volcano has been like the second or third choice. So if you guys see a volcano today, please let them know that they are loved, but not more than Slavic mythology by 0.2%.
Yeah. Well, we'll always put volcano back
Volcanoes
on.
will definitely be polled next week, so make sure you join us next Tuesday as we study Slavic mythology and encourage people to learn about volcanoes the following week.